Welcome to Road of Echoes, Episode 10, The Standing Rock of Yellow Creek, Part 1, The Shape of the Valley. We begin in eastern Ohio in Jefferson County, Knox Township around Yellow Creek. There is a rock in eastern Ohio that everyone talks about in whispers, and it holds 10,000 years of American history beneath its surface. The indigenous peoples called it a place of power. Early surveyors used it as a legal boundary marker, and beneath it right now, if the water is cold enough and clean enough, North America's largest salamander might be hiding. Episode 10 of Road of Echoes goes there. Indigenous Water Guardian lore. An 1800s land deed with one unforgettable line, the Hellbender, ancient, endangered, and watching. A valley that remembers everything the rock endures. The echoes remain. Let's begin. There are places on this earth that do not forget. Places where the land itself holds memory, pressed into stone, carried in current, written in the long grammar of water moving over rock. This valley is one of those places. This creek, one of those waters. And this rock is one of those witnesses. Yellow Creek rises in the hills of Columbiana County, gathers itself from 100 small hollows and seeps, and descends through the unglaciated plateau country of eastern Ohio toward the broad, ancient corridor of the Ohio River. Along the way, it passes through communities whose names are carved into the local bone: Irondale, Empire, Stratton, Toronto. It passes through farms and mine scars and second-growth forest. It passes through the memory of peoples who were here long before any of those names existed. And near where it begins its final descent toward the Ohio, in a bend of the valley in Knox Township, Jefferson County, it passes a rock, a standing rock, a rock that has been here in this creek for longer than human language has had words to describe it. We have been calling this series Road of Echoes, a name meant to honor the idea that the landscapes we travel through are never empty. They carry sound, the sound of all who passed this way before. The indigenous hunters and councils, the surveyors with their chains and their ledgers, the settlers who fenced the bottomland, the coal miners who blasted the ridge, the ecologists who came later with their sampling nets and their worry. Every road that follows a creek follows something older than the road. The creek itself follows something older still. And the rock is where the echo begins. A watershed is a story with a beginning but no real ending. Yellow Creek, known on official maps and in historic deeds as Big Yellow Creek, begins in the elevated, rolling plateau of Columbiana County, Ohio, where the land is still creased and folded from the long work of glacial outwash and stream erosion. From those headwaters, the creek moves generally northwest and west, gathering tributaries, cutting deeper into the Pennsylvanian-era sandstone and shale that underlie this part of the Allegheny Plateau. Over a course of roughly 31 miles, it descends through Jefferson County, passing through or near the communities of Irondale, Empire, Bergholtz, Stratton, and Toronto. Names that speak equally of immigrant aspiration and industrial ambition before emptying finally into the Ohio River. The total watershed it drains covers approximately 239 square miles across Jefferson, Columbiana, and Carroll counties. This is not flat country. The creek valley here is carved, cut by patient water through rock that has no interest in yielding quickly. The walls of the valley are steep in places, forested to the ridgeline, dissected by small side hollows that each carry their own tributary stream. The bedrock exposed along the creek, the same Pennsylvanian-era sandstone and shale that underlies much of eastern Ohio, is the geological skeleton of this landscape. You can read it in road cuts, in creek banks, in the faces of outcroppings that jut from the hillside like old bones. This is Appalachian country in character, if not quite in designation. The land has the feel of something ancient and compressed. Knox Township lies in the western portion of Jefferson County, a largely rural agricultural township where the creek corridor is flanked by farm fields and woodlots that climb toward the plateau ridges on either side. It is here, in Knox Township, that the landmark known as the Standing Rock makes its presence known. A large, prominent formation of sandstone and conglomerate, massive by the standards of a creekside rock standing well above the surrounding streambed, it sits in or immediately adjacent to the main channel of Yellow Creek. It is the kind of rock that stops you, the kind of rock that, once seen, is never entirely forgotten. In the early 1800s, when Euro-American surveyors were pushing through this country with their Gunter's chains and their field notebooks, natural landmarks like this one became legal markers. A large rock in or near Big Yellow Creek is referenced in an early land deed for the area of Section 34, Township 8, Range 2. The Public Land Survey coordinates that place this very ground within the emerging American grid. For a surveyor in 1805 or 1810, the Standing Rock was not poetic. It was practical, a boundary point, a witness, the land's own signature on the page of its own deed. A word of clarification that matters. Ohio has more than one Standing Rock of significance. In Summit County, near the city of Kent, stands another landmark of the same name. The Standing Rock Cemetery, associated with Standing Rock in the Cuyahoga River Valley, a site of documented Indigenous significance that has served the Kent community since the 19th century. Both are real. Both are places where natural geology and Indigenous naming tradition intersected with settler record-keeping. They are not the same place. The Standing Rock we are visiting today belongs to Jefferson County, to Knox Township, to the Valley of Yellow Creek. Its name, its significance, is its own. The United States Geological Survey has been mapping this creek corridor for more than a century. The Wellsville Quadrangle, the topographic sheet that covers Yellow Creek's lower watershed in Jefferson County, was first published in 1904. By the time of its 2016 revision, that same piece of paper had recorded 112 years of change in this valley. You can see it in the progression, the spread of mining notations in the early editions, the channelization of creek segments in the industrial decades, and then, in the most recent maps, the beginnings of something that might be called recovery. New vegetation categories. Restored riparian buffers. The creek still there, still flowing, still draining its 239 square miles toward the Ohio, exactly as it was when the first surveyor drew a line through this township and wrote, in his best field hand, "Large Rock." This valley is shaped by water and stone, but also by something harder to name. The steep walls of Yellow Creek create an unusual acoustics, a kind of natural sound trap. Hunters and early settlers wrote that echoes behaved strangely here. Footsteps returning from the wrong direction, voices carrying farther than they should, and certain bends of the creek answering with a second tone beneath the first. Geography explains part of it. The rest belongs to the long memory of the land. The bend where the Standing Rock rises has long been considered a crossing place, a point where the land thins, where the visible and invisible draw close. Horses refused to cross here on certain nights. Dogs would not drink from the shallows. Shadows moved against the sun on the ridge lines above. The settlers had no language for liminal geography, but they understood enough to say, this bend is different. Even the rock itself participates in the valley's strangeness. Conglomerate sandstone expands and contracts with temperature, producing faint knocks and creaks as the day warms or cools. But the people who lived here before the age of geology believed the rock was speaking, shifting its attention, announcing changes in the weather, or marking the presence of something moving through the water. 3 knocks before a storm, a single creak at dusk, a pulse in the stone. Thank you for watching The Standing Rock of Yellow Creek. Part 1, The Shape of the Valley. Part 2, The First Keepers, is available in the Road of Echoes profile. If you're watching on YouTube or TikTok, please like, subscribe, follow, and share. Your support keeps Road of Echoes moving forward. Let's begin.